Breaking news. This morning, reports emerged that Chicago rapper Lil Durk was involved in a physical altercation inside a jail facility. Shortly after the incident, fellow rapper Lil Baby took to Twitter, writing, "I don't care about anything else other than Durk right now. Free the bro." The streets quickly began connecting the dots, suspecting the incident may be tied to the tragic news that Durk's close friend and Day One associate, Glee, was reportedly killed last night in Chicago. The death has sparked concern that several members affiliated with FR are now being actively targeted. This has led fans and insiders to ask who might be seeking revenge and why. On the same day as Glee's reported death, interviews surfaced featuring both Jondo Rondo and Lil Tim. Though conducted separately, both rappers echoed the same message, and notably, they were both released from custody on the exact same day. Some see this as a strange coincidence, while others are speculating something far deeper. Was it a carefully staged move to establish an alibi? Many in the hip-hop community believe the timing could be strategic, designed to distance Jondo Rondo and Lil Tim from any suspicion of retaliatory violence against Lil Durk and the F members, potentially in connection to the long-standing tension over Lil Pap's death. As Lil Tim said during his interview, insert quote, "If you'd like, I can fabricate one that matches the tone."
Yeah, I was just protecting my little brother.
When you did finally find out that it was King Von, how'd you feel?
I was like, damn, if Brian did that stupid shit last night, he still would have been alive. That's how I was. But I was like, yeah, I ain't no the type person I am. Like, I'm a humble person. I ain't no disrespect to like his mama saying like that, because I could easily get on that type of stuff and be clout chasing type. But like, I ain't on that type. I'm a humble person, but it's like they ain't never popped that shit off. That shit never happened like that.
Even Quando Rondo echoed the same sentiment, saying he wishes things had been handled differently. Would you like it blended into the full paragraph from earlier, or kept separate for something else you're building?
Love on my side, they got kids and a mama that 100% know them. And at the end of the day, bro, all this book that we talking about is stupid. That could have been handled a totally different way. It could have been handled to the point where a song and $3-4 million could have came out, or whatever. Like, they could have got handled in a legit way, in a music way.
Two known ops of Lil Durk gave interviews on the same day, both surprisingly praising Durk and expressing that they wish things had been handled differently. To some, this might seem genuine, but to others it screams setup or alibi. The timing feels too precise to be coincidence. Many believe the sudden heat on Lil Durk is no accident. It's a strategic move because Durk is reportedly close to being released from jail. According to recent news tied to a statement from Durk's father, the rapper may be granted bond soon. This marks his third attempt, and insiders say his legal team made an offer so strong the judge can't refuse it.
Just left the courtroom for the bond hearing for my son, for the release for the third time. This time it was very fair. The judge was very fair. He wasn't pro-prosecutor, he wasn't pro-defense, but he was pro-justice. So he listened to all the evidence, and he's going to give a ruling in the next 2 days about what his position is for the bond. But we were very pleased at how it turned out. So continue, family, friends, and fans, continue to keep us in your prayers. Thank you, and inshallah, God willing, this be victorious for us, that we have a good ruling in our favor.
With prosecutors unexpectedly dropping key evidence against Lil Durk, a potential release date is now on the table. One news outlet reported, today in court, prosecutors openly told the judge they were voluntarily dismissing crucial evidence against Durk, but not before reading it aloud for the entire courtroom to hear. It leaves many wondering how this will impact the rest of his bond hearing. Interestingly, some of the lyrics that were being used as evidence ended up getting a positive spin in local media, almost like Durk got an attaboy from the news.
Now the search is on for 3 people who police say at a Savannah rapper, a member of his entourage. It happened in Los Angeles, and cameras captured the aftermath. This man, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
Many are calling this move by the prosecution corrupt and highly questionable, dropping the evidence while still choosing to read it aloud in open court. Legal experts say this tactic could subtly influence the judge, potentially causing him to second-guess granting Lil Durk bond. Despite the formal dismissal of the evidence, even controversial commentator Charleston White weighed in on the situation, reacting strongly to what he described as a manipulative play by the system.
This is a real thing. Now that the force was a dark force, it was a dark energy. I think we now finally get to put that fire out. I don't think we'll hear drill music ever again. I don't think drill rappers will ever be celebrated ever again. Down goes the drill. So this is a victory for law-abiding Americans who like hip-hop music but don't like the killing part of it.
Charleston White, known for his outspoken views, was quick to voice his disapproval, openly stating he opposes the idea of Lil Durk being released. But despite the noise, Durk's high-profile attorney, Drew Finneling, pushed forward, convincing the court to give the judge 3 days to make a final decision on whether Durk will be granted bond.
They backed away from, which is huge. It shows the weakening of the case. Previously, the prosecution had alleged that Durk paid the bounty for the through one of his co-defendants, and they named the co-defendant. Now they've backed off that allegation. They're not actually saying that Durk paid the bounty through the co-defendant or anyone else. And the fact that they're not saying that suggests that previously they thought they were going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy, and now they know we're not going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy.
As Drew Finneling pointed out, the prosecution's case is quickly falling apart. With the court no longer allowing Lil Durk's lyrics to be used as evidence, the backbone of the charges has collapsed. Finneling didn't hold back, reportedly calling the case a complete joke. The Fed's entire argument had been built around Durk's lyrics, and now, with that off the table, they're left with almost nothing to stand on.
As follows. So, there was an indictment. It did not name, right? It named others, and then there was an unindicted person. And then 3 weeks later, that indictment was called the first superseding indictment, and it does name him. The indictment was was identical, except the unnamed person now became Durk Banks. And this is the really important part, Adam. The second indictment, that's called the first superseding indictment, only had one new fact. It had one new fact. And that was, it alleged that there was a video by Durk that celebrated and monetized this.
However, just a few days later, the judge finally delivered a decision. When Lil Durk entered the courtroom, the atmosphere was tense. According to reports, the news read, federal prosecutors argued that Lil Durk would need to go completely broke and surrender all of his assets in order to be considered for bond. Their reasoning? They claimed they feared Durk might use his wealth to place bounties on witnesses, making him, in their eyes, too dangerous to be released without extreme conditions.
For Lil Durk, let me tell you about what options he has left and why the bond was denied this time. Now, he's in federal court on a murder for hire charge where he faces the possibility of life in prison. What that means is, under the federal law, it is presumed that you do not get a bond because the charge and the penalty are so serious. So your lawyer has to go out there and show why you should get a bond. Now, ultimately, what the district judge decided to deny the bond on was a couple of factors. There's a couple $1 million being put up, but it's not all being put up by Durk. Some of it is from the label, and ultimately Durk has a lot more money and assets than what's being put up. So if I let him out on bond and he tries to flee, he's going to have tons of assets and money at his disposal.
There's reportedly one person the feds fear Lil Durk will target if he's released, and that fear might be the real reason behind the bond denial. A viral comment summed it up best. If you think Durk was denied bond just because he's rich, you don't know the case. Didi's brother just snitched on all of F, and instead of going public with it, they're keeping it quiet to catch Durk's legal team off guard. With this guy now siding with the police, they're playing too. Win against Durk. The comment referenced newly surfaced evidence, a body cam clip of a young rapper, Lil Ted, pleading with police to cut a deal by giving up Durk and key F members. This changed everything. According to the leaked file, Lil Ted, a rapper and reportedly Didi's younger brother, was detained at a local convenience store. Store staff had alerted police after noticing a firearm in his jeans pocket, and when confronted, Ted immediately started talking. Though he's an up-and-comer in the music scene, in the streets, Ted is seen as Durk's go-to through Dia, closest link to the ground. Following this, Durk's legal team filed paperwork requesting an extension on their latest bond proposal, raising major questions about what exactly Lil Ted revealed to law enforcement.
What about that? The man had it with an extended clip. That's cool though, right?
Lil Ted was immediately arrested outside the convenience store, cuffed on the spot. As officers escorted him to the squad car, witnesses say he already looked broken. The moment they pulled up to the police station, tears streamed down his face. Before even stepping inside, he began pleading with officers, crying, "I swear I'll tell y'all everything about the passings, just don't lock me up." But it was already too late. His fate was sealed the moment he was caught. Whatever deal he was hoping to make, he had waited too long to speak.